Exciting conversation about growth, resilience, and transformation, all through the innovative new program from Live Prosperous. This program is designed to empower people at every stage of life, providing the tools they need to live with purpose, clarity, and confidence. Joining me today are three incredible individuals who have been instrumental in shaping this program. Freddie Scott, a former NFL player and life coach, Beth Shaha, a life and wellness advocate, and Spisso, a retired sergeant major and now leadership expert. Together, they've combined their unique insights to create a powerful roadmap for navigating life's transitions and building lasting success. It's been so exciting seeing the coursework that you all have collaborated on and put together to help people at various stages of their life and to be more prosperous as they live out. And I just love the term prosperity. How do we live in a more prosperous way overall? Can you tell me about this coursework and why you are all so excited about launching this and bringing it to so many people at various stages in their life?
Yeah, so this started through some conversations with our CEO of the company or founder of Live Prosperous, Bobby Morgan. And this is years ago. We were having conversations just on mental health and talking about the work that I had done within the NFL community for over a decade, and trying to find those commonalities around what are the common challenges that we know we're all going through, or people in society are going through, and can we create a course that can help people with these real world scenarios that it's not if you're going to go through it, it's when you go through it. And that started an amazing opportunity for us to collaborate with Beth and JB, and just pulling from their world of resources and stories and information. And I really am excited because it all goes through these pillars that you're going to be hearing more and more about. And really, in a nutshell, it's helping people to be self-aware and be present with themselves, to be equipped with tools so they can be able to be proactive and not reactive, because all of us sometimes feels like I'm living in a fire.
Mm.
From there, I'm going to take some ownership and be an author of my life and determine what is my real mission and passion and purpose, and what is it that I really, really want. And does my life reflect that right now? Then I'm going to be intentional in creating a game plan by being a pilot and having a pre-flight checklist of here's the goals, here's the objective, here's where I want to go, here's how I'm going to get there. Then I'm going to be a manager and make sure that I have the right people around me to help me accomplish that goal. Then I'm going to be intentional about moving forward with this action plan that I developed. But then I'm also going to be agile because I realize that not every plan works out the way I thought. And then at the end of the day, I want to be a lifeguard. I want to help other people go through that same journey as well. And so that's the overview of what we've built. And Beth and JB have been invaluable with providing so many practical tools and stories that literally will be something that anyone that's going through any of these pieces will find something that they can apply to their life immediately.
JB, your thoughts on why this is so helpful and why you wanted to get behind it?
Well, I wish I would have had this, 30 years ago. I'll start with that. And, Freddie's definitely the brainchild behind this and making all this come about. And then when I started going through it, I started saying, wow, how I needed it personally and how one builds on the next. And I might have did some of them okay, a lifeguard, a firefighter. But then when I started understanding that, oh, by the way, I need some help. And what I learned from this entire course is, slow down to go fast. Everything we do, everything is at, sports center accolades, top speed, let's go. But there's times that you have to, walk through the drills first. And this was important to me. And the other thing is I found that it's okay to ask for help. In the military, it's like, I'm a retired sergeant major. I'm not asking anybody for help. I can figure everything out. Look at these awards and schools that I've been to. And all of a sudden you're like, yep, I need some help with that. I need the rough edges knocked off. And I want to tell you about like working with Freddie and Beth. non-judgmental people, and even, sometimes I say something maybe a little off balance, or just like, okay, we got to just chip off this rough edge. Uh, but at the soul, that's great. And I learned three key things through all this. Have some humor, definitely have humility, being humble, and bring that enthusiasm. So those are my three mantras that I try to put forth as we continue to lead and grow and teach and mentor all these pillars.
Beth, I've been so blown away by the content that you've also produced for this coursework. It's just so insightful. Tell me why you are so passionate about this.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that we are storytellers. And with Live Prosperous and what we do and the pillars, everything that we do includes stories, because this is JB. You're going to see him. You're going to know him. This is Freddie. This is me, right? Like, that's who we are. That's who our team is. And we are people, we are humans trying to figure it out. And as you go through life, things come your way, even beautiful things, transitions such as marriage or having a family or getting a brand new exciting job or moving where you're choosing to move. Like, some of these transitions are things you choose. It doesn't mean it's not sometimes difficult. And so what I love about the course is I've kind of taken more of an eagle eye view from it, right? Because we've spent a lot of time in the makings and the creation and we worked with researchers, dialectical behavior therapists. Like, we really looked at how we could give you the best we can, right? But then when I took this eagle eye view, I thought to myself, what I love about this is it's like, in my medicine cabinet, I have all sorts of things for when something happens, right? And I may need Tylenol, or I may need a Band-Aid, or I may even need an ACE bandage. Who knows? But I have them and they're there for when I need them. Now, I don't always need them. I may not even look in that cabinet for, months and months at a time. But when I do, I have them. And when I think about this toolkit that comes with the pillars, and when I think about how life happens, there are certain times that will come up when you're going to need a very specific tool, or you're going to remember a story that JB has shared, or you're going to say, wow, I remember that takeaway. And maybe that doesn't apply to me right now, but it's, when I get to that, I'm going to need that. And there are surveys designed to know which pillar can you start with. And so if I'm feeling like I've got a lot of things going for me, but man, I could use a plan. I need to be a pilot. I need to be an author and write my story. So put that pen in my hand, right? Like, I love that wherever you are and whatever you need, there's a pillar to meet you, and it will continue to be there, whether you need it now or later. And I just think it's great. Obviously, being a part of this team has been a great joy of mine. And I'm really looking forward, honestly, to all the other stuff that we create together, with input, with experiences people go through this course, and what more we can do to make life less lifey and more prosperous.
Gosh, I love that. And really understanding there. I mean, there's so many courses out there these days. Everybody is saying, I've got this course for this thing and business coaching and all these things, but this is such a different marriage of so many different backgrounds and specialties. It just really has blown me away of the level and the depth that all of you have gone into. And Freddie, if I could, start with you, and I'd love for all of you to chime in, specifically some of the transformations you've helped people with. Obviously, we've heard about your background stories, for each of you having your own connection to why you're doing this. But I know in everyday life, you're working, well, we'll start with you, Freddie. You're working with some of the top athletes, some of the top executives in the country. All of you are actually working with executives nationwide because they want that extra edge. So, Freddie, if you could talk about some of the transformations that you've seen in helping people who really just need help, and you would never know they need help. Like you said, like if somebody's on the top of their game in the NFL, you think they've got it all together. But there are elite CEOs, there are elite business people out there in every background who are struggling. Can you talk about some of the one-to-one type of experiences you've had recently?
Yeah, definitely. This has been probably one of the most rewarding aspects of this. Initially, years ago, when we first started working with NFL players, NFL community, is one thing working with, say, our former player community, That's sort of your brotherhood, people you played with or played against. The common challenges that we've all gone through, whether or not for some they've gone through divorce or financial loss or loss of significance or purpose or loss of time management, just all the nuances that tend to hit someone when they're transitioning. But the population that I felt that's been the most rewarding has actually been the active players, the actual rookies to go in, and you would think, hey, I'm young, I made this money, I just signed this contract, it's my rookie year of the NFL, and we've got it all laid out. And actually the top two stressors for every player has been money and family. And not having the tools to be able to navigate, how do I navigate the most exciting time of my life, the time that I've been dreaming about since I was a kid, but now I have all these expectations because I'm this high performer. I'm the guy. I'm supposed to do this. People are expecting this of me. I'm responsible and accountable for this, for my family, for my siblings, for my parents. And you wear the weight of all of that on your shoulders while still trying to perform at a very high level. And what I found was the challenges and the issues or the lack of tools were the things that they were starving for. And so once we started connecting people and allowing them, first of all, to hit pause to life, and let's just be present with ourselves, helping people create their own personal mission statements and aligning that mission with their values, their core values. Because if my life and my decisions aren't in alignment with my values and my mission, you're going to have cognitive dissonance. I'm not going to really respect and like the man that's looking back at me in the mirror. But the more in alignment my thoughts and my behaviors and my decisions are with my values, the more self-confidence I'm going to have, the better I'm going to feel about myself. And that's also going to impact my relationships, my family, and my performance. And so for any high performer, it's not just if you're an athlete, if you're a high performer and you feel the weight that I'm talking about, the responsibility that I'm talking about, while you're going through that, I still have to perform. These pillars were made with you in mind.
Beth, if you could chime in on this one too.
Yeah, a lot of times people just come to me saying, I'm stuck. I don't know. I don't have a way out. And so just as Freddie's talking about, whether it's, it's kind of a square one moment where you say, I'm going through something, and it could be a retirement. It could be divorce. It could be, trying to figure out what's next for you with your professional life. And it could be like me waking up one day and just simply saying, wow, this is not how I imagine things. And it's just a readjustment. It's like unplug your computer and plug it back in. That's what it's about when you're thinking about a transition and you're in that square one. You're saying, how do I reboot here? And what's holding me back? What's keeping me in that spot? So when I watch, clients that have come to me and said, this is where I am. My first question is, what do you want more of? And how can we get you to come home to yourself? How do we get you more in tune? Freddie talked about being present, the power of the present moment to help you really hone in and think about what is it that I want more of and how can I create that? And then when you do that in one area, it starts to penetrate other areas and you start to see the impact. And I think that energy, that excitement, that kind of forward motion then becomes contagious in your life. But it doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes you really need to get quiet, and understand that you have the ability to be the author, to really have the key and be your own primary caregiver. But until you're willing to kind of see that a little and be quiet enough to feel what that feels like, you might be in that stuckness for a little while. And so when I watch people kind of get past some of their limiting beliefs, past some of the things that are holding them back, and they get to start dreaming and scheming, they'll cut their hair, they'll rearrange their furniture, they'll say, I'm gonna, try a new job. You can tell they're trying. And that's what I think is fun. People start to play. They're more playful. They're less blinders on, my life is terrible, and they're more open and willing to see that there's more for them. And then they try things and they start feeling it out. And then we kind of work through that. But that transition, sometimes it's like, pulling somebody along, but it doesn't matter. It's the powerful questions that get them to start thinking more about how they truly can take the reins to their life. And that's why I love working with folks when they're in transition.
JB, talking with you and hearing about some of the elite stages you've been on, some of the big corporations who have hired you to come in and speak, and then some of the takeaways of people who come up to you after you spoke. And it kind of, you were talking about how some of those stories just blew you away when people would really connect, but you didn't expect the person in the audience to be going through the struggles that they were. I think that's really reminiscent of some of the stuff you did from your military career as well.
I see, people that, whether the elite athlete or elite business professional, and, you think they got it all together. Like Freddie saw the insides of a locker room. I was able to do that as well with NHL players, and then also with business professionals. And then I'm like, wow, they don't have it all together. And I went back to what I did in the Army when my last decade as a sergeant major. The right arm of the Army, I just gave them straight talk. And I found that that's what they were looking for. Because many times in their circle, people are kind of just telling them what they want to hear and everything's okay. We don't have to worry about it. And I learned that I just was like, it's not the fluff. I remember working with a young business executive. He's uber successful now, has more money than he probably knows what to do with, made family wealth. But as he was growing up, he was trying to get a VP job, and he was talking to me one day. We were having coffee, and he's like, I went to an Ivy League school and this and that. I was like, no one cares. No one gives a damn that you went to an Ivy League school. I'm like, put paper in the copier if it needs it. Lead by example. And then he kind of looked, and I said, at the end of the day, what do you want to do? He's like, well, I want to run my own shop. I'm like, then have your own shop. And he's like, what if it doesn't work? Then it doesn't work. But go, try, experience. And I think when people get that, they're like, wow, I can get it, and I would always ask him, are you talented? Yes or no? Yes. All right, then add some grit to it, and you'll see how far you go. And so part of it is people just don't know how far they can go unless they try. And they also have a hard time, and I like what Freddie said, they also have a hard time enjoying that moment. I will tell you, there was a long time in my military career, and I was in special operations or working at West Point or had some great assignments, and I was not enjoying that moment. I didn't take a step back, stop, look, listen, smell, and enjoy that moment. And when you don't do that, you find yourself in the dark territory. Freddie knows this, Beth knows this, sometimes the best player for the position gets cut because it doesn't fit in the salary cap. And sometimes the best person for the job doesn't get the job. Those are just life lessons that, you have to learn to overcome. It's not always fair. Life isn't fair. But, I always believe that if you have faith in it, and faith can be religious, but doesn't have to be. But faith is the understanding that, if you keep putting in the work every single day, you keep showing up, that's going to pay off. And, doing ethical work, honorable work, you keep doing that, it generally ends up, on the right side of the equation.
So well said. And I just love the whole mindset of living prosperous, live prosperous. It's the whole mantra of all of your coursework and the title of the coursework going forward, which is so exciting. And then we actually think about like quotes from some of those that have unfortunately passed away, but like Albert Einstein, the imagination is the preview of what's to come in life. And that's really what we're saying here. giving people the permission to understand and acknowledge where they're at in life, but also to imagine and to dream and to design their life in the future and giving them hope. So I'm so excited about this launch of Live Prosperous, and I'm grateful for all of your time today and just the great nuggets to hear the mindset behind all of this coursework. Thank you, everybody.